So I go up, this big security bloke goes, no, I can't. I go, yes, I can. We're paying for this boat. And you could see, people can see me sort of arguing with this bloke. So he comes, to his credit, he comes over and goes, hi, my name's Justin. I go, well, g'day, Justin. Glenn shook his hand like really tight.
Shinboner of the century.
He goes, that's okay, that's okay. I said, oh, beautiful. I said, tell your goon that we're coming up. I go downstairs, tell all the boys, I go, listen, we're going upstairs, that little Justin Bieber's up there. He gets hammered a bit, so just leave him alone. Within 10 seconds, they grab me, Bieber, selfie.
All around him.
I'm looking, going, stuff him.
No one's ever lucky. I think the only luck you get in life is where you're born, and then you make the rest.
Stick around. It's going to be a good ride.
Oh, yeah? Anyone in particular?
Just the wife. Phone's on silent, lads, but someone's trying to FaceTime me. Sorry.
The Chief. The Chief, how'd you go on your walk? Was it a walk?
Walk for awareness in Brisbane. So for men's mental health, we did that on the weekend. It was an amazing walk. We did 9 kilometres, and that's all because there's 9 people, unfortunately, every day that take their life. Oh. So we got a few thousand there down the river, did the 9K walk. Great event. So we try and get up every year. Obviously, the last few years we couldn't go because of COVID. So, yeah, got to go up there. We've got a lot of friends in Brizzy, and it was a good trip.
So is it? Yeah, that's crazy. So it's 9 people...
9 lives a day.
Just 9 lives, all different ages.
Yeah.
In Australia?
Yeah, in Australia.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it was 4 or 5 years ago we did our first walk. It was 7 lives a day. So it was a 7K walk. Unfortunately, it's gone to 9.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Could be because of the pandemic.
Oh,
That's
okay.
interesting though, isn't it? So each year they acknowledge that number by the kilometres you walk.
Yeah,
Love
correct.
Love it.
Well, I didn't know. And then I said, why are we doing 9 kilometres? And then they did the special. Like, there you go.
Well, let's get it down so I only have to walk 1K.
That's right.
Or 0, I should say.
But it's all about just talking about it.
Yeah.
Nice work,
You know,
mate.
just mental awareness. So that's why we went up there. It was good. It was good to see a lot of people that made it out that day. It was a bit wet in Brisbane.
Was it?
It wasn't the best weekend up there, to be honest.
It's wet everywhere.
Looks like they're going to have a shocking summer, Brizzy.
Just wet.
I think everyone's going to... I feel like...
I think Melbourne's going to be okay.
Are we?
I think we might have the best of the bunch again.
Beautiful.
Try out.
Yeah.
Love it.
How'd you boys go? I haven't seen you for a week. Not a lot's
What
happened.
have we done?
I don't know. That's a good question.
You always ask me, and I've got to talk. You blokes.
No, it's actually been a good week.
Oh, yeah?
Like, not that they're not always good weeks, but, sometimes you have better weeks than others.
Yeah?
Just, a bit happened in the sales department.
Oh.
That we've plugged a little hole,
Some
plugged
new
the right
employees.
people in.
Yeah, finding some new employees.
Yeah.
wow.
So, they're out there, if you look. I don't know.
Beautiful.
Put the work in. So, it's been an okay week, Dan.
It's good to hear, mate.
Yep. Thanks, mate. That's itchy pre-edibles average this week, boys. If we can work on that for next week.
Well,
good.
I was supposed to bring you some news, but I've just been told I'm not allowed
Yeah.
to talk about it yet. But I'm very close to telling
So
you.
next week we finally get to...
My new little venture that we're going down.
Oh, nice.
So I
Nice,
think I
all right.
believe it's
Because you know what? We actually put out with Jeff. So we had Jeff last week, Jeff Walsh, and there's a reel of you talking about what you can't talk about that's coming out this week. So it's just gonna get him a little bit more excited for when we can share it.
I've signed papers. I've done everything.
It's big news.
The bank
It's good
said
news.
yes. I just got to get the money from one account to the other account, and then I can talk about it.
Yeah, beautiful.
Amazing.
Bring it.
Love it. Exciting times.
Very exciting.
Tune in next week. All right, guys. Welcome back to Australia's #1 podcast. We are the Little Fish, and we speak to the big fish about town each and every week. Like, share, subscribe. We're trying to get the subscribers up.
Yeah, we are.
We're on a mission.
You know, the crazy part
We're on a
is, like,
mission.
I don't look at the stats that much, but when I was looking at the YouTube stats, it's like 80% of the people that watch it aren't subscribed, which is crazy. So people watch it, so everyone's watching, but they're not.
Just subscribe.
So if that's one of you, smash the subscribe
Yes,
button.
help a brother out.
Turn the bell notifications on so you don't get left behind. Happy development.
Algorithm overlords.
I'll be honest, I don't subscribe to all the ones. I'm maybe
So we got
start-
one there.
Yeah, exactly. So we
That's a free get.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get into the guest. Today's guest has been kicking goals on and off the field for nearly 30 years.
I thought we were going to lose that bit.
Oh,
Say that every
I
week.
fucking feel
yeah.
like
The old kicking goals. Everyone's kicking goals. All right.
I'm just thinking, does this bloke, did he kick goals on the field? I'm just trying to think.
No, he didn't
It
kick
was
goals. He
big
stopped goals,
kick.
all right?
Yeah, big kick.
Defense. After enjoying a glorious AFL career at North Melbourne, which included 2 premierships, 3 All-Australians, a Norm Smith medal, a Bobby Rose Award for the most courageous player 6 times.
6 times, dude.
And now has gone on to co-found Kode Entertainment Group.
And I reckon it's missing some in there as well. I reckon the list was that long. I reckon there's the best and fairest in there. There's
Missing heaps, Benjamin.
man.
The Shinboner of the century, our next guest, hung up the boots and has made a name for himself in business. Today, he's a successful director of a bespoke agency offering custom-designed, once-in-a-lifetime entertainment experiences.
I like the sound of that.
That's right
That's
up,
up
your,
right up
right up your alley,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah. I'm actually trying to get over to the Super Bowl for an experience.
That'd be sick.
What
Well,
about
you
this?
know, you might have to just be nice to the guest, mate.
We can probably wrap a package up for you, no doubt. Put you onto the right
The
people.
little fish discount.
An Australian Football Hall of Famer making his mark in the business scene. Give it up for the celebrated AFL great and businessman,
yeah.
Glenn Archer.
Oh,
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, we all remember him playing. Growing up as a youngster, watching him, the
He
great
is
man.
One of those guys you don't forget, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Left a mark.
Big mark.
Thanks, lads.
On it.
How's he
Welcome,
going?
Arch.
Hey, I did kick a few goals, by
you
the
did?
way,
Yeah.
along the way. Wasn't always a defender.
Must have been a long run.
How many goals did you kick, Glenn?
That's actually a good question. You got the computer there.
Yeah.
I'll be
Come on, Gav. We've got a diehard supporter in
so
the
it's
crowd
100.
there.
I'm going to say
Gav, you look it up, Gav, and let us know.
In the 140s.
Oh, I'm impressed.
Jeez,
140?
That surprised me.
Yeah, that surprised me too. I'm thinking teens or, you know.
No, I started as a bit of a swing man. I'd be
Yeah,
defence,
okay.
then I'd go forward and back
Yeah.
and forth a bit. And then I just settled down back.
Sort of one every 2.5 games.
Not quite.
Do the math.
Oh, yeah.
140.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. All right. There you go.
So
Must have
One
been
in
prolific
2
early.
games, you could back him
Yeah.
for a goal. I don't mind it.
had I stayed down there, could have been 1,000.
Yeah.
100%. Well, thanks for coming in, Glenn. Bloody good.
No worries. Great room, by the way.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, she's coming
Developing.
along. Hats off to Benny and Bon,
Yeah.
the architects of it all. Yeah, it's coming along. We're going to get a proper curtain along there, but yeah, it was just a bit of a shed for us.
Yeah, it was a full shed. We realised we needed to do something when it started raining halfway through a pod early on. We're like, that's not going to work.
So, Glenn, we like to talk business. We like to talk sport, culture, successful businesses, not so successful businesses, companies, sporting organisations. But I guess we want to start. You were 17. You walked into the Kangaroos, North
Yep.
Melbourne. What was that like at 17 years of age? Because that's probably a bit rare these days.
And who were the
Come in
big
that
dogs
early.
when you walked in?
Yeah.
Well, I got there at about 17 just to do a pre-season in the under-19s. We still had the under-19s back then. And Dennis Pagan was the coach. So they asked me to come down to do a pre-season. I was a good junior, but I wasn't elite. So I actually got surprised that they actually asked me to go down there to do a pre-season.
Yeah.
So I went down there. I lasted 3 weeks. So I'd come from Noble Park. Basically, I could do whatever I want there, train when I wanted, pick the team, basically.
Yeah.
So I went from that to the extreme of Dennis Pagan.
Yeah.
Like absolutely tearing shreds off your, 10 400s, 10 200s, 10 100s, ball work. Back then it was sort of weak-minded to drink water during training.
Oh, wow.
So you weren't getting a drink or anything. So, so that was pretty tough. So, I lasted 3 weeks and said, no, this isn't for me.
I guess that step sounds like it was so dramatic.
It was extreme,
Yeah.
from what I was doing to what they were doing. Yeah. So I just didn't think I was good enough anyway. So I went back to Noble Park and started playing senior football as a 17-year-old. And I loved it. I was playing full forward, little fat full forward. I was getting $100 cash a week in 1991.
Back then, that's good. Yeah,
was
good
good
dough.
coin.
Good dough.
Like I was,
Set you up for Saturday night.
Yeah.
well,
Into
but
Sunday, just
they
quietly.
used to pay us on a Thursday night and then pay you the cash. And then they bring out the Crown and Anchor. And so you basically lose it. Anyway, you basically give it back. But no, I was having a great time. But then Dennis Pagan rang me, I think it was about round 5 of the 91 season, and coaching the under-19s, and said, we're struggling for forwards. I was a forward back then. He said, just come down and play a game. And I said, no, I'm fine. I'm happy where I am.
Sick of doing those 400.
Yeah. Well, he said that. He goes, well, you don't have to do a pre-season. You just have to play. So he rang the house 10 times. So I thought, I'll go play one game just so stop him ringing the house. So I went and played one game. I always remember we played Carlton at Arden Street. Again, a forward, kicked a couple of goals. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed the guys' company as well. But I was still going back to Noble Park, but I found out that they were playing Sydney the following week, and I'd never been on a plane before. So I thought I'll tick that off as well. So I did the same. Played Sydney the next week, and again I thought, I don't mind this. I'll hang around for a little bit. And 17 years later, I was still there. So.
2 premierships.
Wow. So, Glenn, can you just explain to us, so back then in 91, because there is no 19s league anymore,
No.
so you had the senior team. Was there a reserves team?
Yep, senior reserves.
And then a 19s,
Yep.
under 19s, and they all played before each other? So you started the night, like with the 19s playing in the reserves and the seniors?
Yeah.
Saturday, yeah.
No, it wasn't every week, but most weeks, yeah.
Curtain raises.
Yeah, so no wonder the grounds were stuffed back then, because by the time the seniors got on there, we had 2 games before it and
then
chopped the
chopped
ground
up,
up.
yeah.
Well, they let you kick on it after
No,
the game
no
as well.
drainage.
Just quietly. They'd all
Yeah,
run
yeah.
on after the game as well.
And so then the club could afford to pay for all the 19s, all the reserves and the seniors to go fly to Sydney, Brisbane, wherever.
Yeah, well, that's always been AFL funded.
Oh, so it's AFL funded, right?
AFL fund, all that sort of stuff. So, I think you get an allocation for each game. You can spend a certain amount.
Yeah.
And these days, even back then, was sponsored by Ansett. The league was. Now it's Virgin. So it's all part of the AFL sponsorship. Yeah.
So then when did becoming an under 19s turn into a senior player? Was it in the 1 year? Was it in the 91 season? Or?
Yeah, well, what happened, the 1991 was the last year in the under 19s. So then it crossed over to that TAC under 18.
Yeah.
So part of the deal was each club, because they were crossing over, getting rid of the 19s, each club could keep as many players as they wanted without going through the draft. So I was one of them.
Beautiful.
So they said, well, they kept 18 of the under 19s, and I was one of them. So I didn't have to
the
go
whole
through the
team.
draft.
Pretty much the whole team. Yeah, that's so you didn't get drafted then.
No draft.
Yeah.
So I just rolled straight into the
Who else was in that team, Arch, that went on and to play successfully in those flags and stuff with you?
Can I just quickly jump in on the 19s? I think a good mate of mine was in the 19s team, Foreman Keith.
Foreman
He
Keith.
was at North Melbourne 19s, and I don't think he got along with Pags very well.
No one did. So
He didn't get picked up the next year.
he was
he
a
was
hard man.
18 out of the 22. He was in the other 4.
Well, Dennis made a lot of footballers, but he broke a lot too.
Yeah.
So he would start a pre-season with 140 players,
Oh, wow.
and he reckons he's never sacked one of them. They all just fell by the wayside.
He took pleasure in minimising that list.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he was brutal, particularly in the 19s. He was mental. My first game was at Arden Street, and again I'd never seen anything like it. So we came at quarter time. I always remember there was a guy who played on the wing. I think his name was Russell Adams, for memory, and he went for a mark. Well, 3 times he went for a mark behind his opponent. His opponent took the mark. So this is my first quarter time speech. Dennis brings us in and goes, Russell, come out the front. He goes, you obviously don't know how to spoil. She goes, oh, I know. So he goes, the guy took 3 marks in front of you. He goes, someone throw the ball up, I'll show you how to spoil. He goes, you go to market. So throws the ball up, Russell goes to market. Dennis comes in and clotheslines him. His mouth guard goes flying out. I'm in the back going, what the hell? In my head, I'm thinking, I'd knock him out if you did that to me. So that was my introduction to his coaching style.
Wow. Hard man sounds very hard man.
Yeah. Right. If he did some of the stuff he did back then, now, like he'd be front page of the papers.
Yeah, 100%. What? At what point did you think I'm not going back to Noble Park here? I'm an AFL player, because it sounded like you were week in, week out, just 1 week at a time. At what point was it that year you were like,
When you got drafted, probably?
I'm an AFL player.
No, well, even just playing that year in the 19s, I didn't think I was going to go any further with it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah,
I just thought I'd play that year and then go back to Noble Park.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously got to the end and they said that we can that rule was the club can keep as many of them under 19s players as possible.
Yep.
And I still wasn't sure whether they were going to keep me or not. I just got a phone call one day from Greg Mill, and they said, he goes, you're on the list. You're on the senior list of next year.
Yeah.
He goes, I'll come to your work and a contract and we'll sign it up. And so I was thinking, how good's this?
Yeah.
The cash. I'm going to get some money here. Yeah. He rocks up to work, brings out the contract. I was living in Berwick, so it's a long way from North Melbourne. Yeah. He goes, so it's $3,000 a year. I go, $3,000 a year? That won't pay for me petrol.
Yeah.
And he ripped shreds off me and said, this is it's an honour to wear this jumper, and it's not about the money. And all right. So I was like, so we'll go and play my first year and end up playing about 9 games, become 9th in the best and fairest. Yep. So I was like, beautiful, we'll get a big pay rise here. And it went from $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's still just covering me petrol. And then I got a phone call that year from Sydney, and they offered me $450,000.
From $5,000?
From $5,000.
Oh, wow.
$450,000 for 3 years.
Yeah.
So $150,000 a year. I thought they were joking. I didn't think the Prime Minister got that sort of money. But we were serious, and in the end, I went back to the club and spoke to Greg Miller. Said, I've got this offer, and he basically gave me a bit of a stern talking to about loyalty and all that sort of stuff. So I knocked it back, and he gave me a pay rise to $16,000.
Oh, wow!
So, turned down.
But
that's very loyal, isn't it? Yes. $100,000 missing.
Would not happen today.
Was it Edelston? Was he the flamboyant Sydney guy? Was he running the club back up then? Jeffrey Edelston?
No, he wasn't running it then. I think the AFL had taken over by then because they were going like bastards.
Yep.
They brought Ron Barassi in, and it was when they were recruited Plugger.
Yep.
So they were just doing a massive recruiting drive, and I was on their list. But luckily for me, I did say no, because then we went on a run from there on and won premierships.
So Glenn, at the start then, when you're getting your $5,000 a year, whatever it is, are you working outside of the AFL?
Yeah. No,
so it's not fully professional yet.
No, it wasn't until '96 that I went fully professional. So my first 4 years I was a electrician.
Oh wow!
So I was full time.
Yeah,
we need a good one around here.
Well, if you need a good one, it's not me. So lucky I could play footy.
That blows my mind. Like I remember growing up as a kid, watching, the North Melbourne. I bragged for Geelong, and I think '92 were good and all that. It's hard to believe that they weren't professional and the guys actually had to go to work.
Yeah. No, I remember, like pre-season, pre-Christmas, like we would train at the Botanical Gardens at 6 a.m. So I was living in Berwick. So I was up at 4, get to training, and it was generally 3 laps and sprints. So it was an hour and a half of running. And then I worked in South Melbourne, so I'd drive to South Melbourne, didn't even have a shower there, put my overalls on, worked till 4, and then go back to Arden Street for more training, and then
built
back to
different back then, man.
Yeah.
I got to know, Arch, those 18 players that they kept, how many were part of the nucleus that went on to be so successful?
A couple, Corey McKernan
was
in that team.
Should have won a Brownlow.
Yeah.
Damien Hardwick was in that team, but obviously didn't get kept by North. He ended up going to Essendon. Glenn Kilpatrick.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Oysters.
Yeah.
I think he came to the Cats, didn't he?
He went to the Cats, yeah. And I think he went to Essendon first. But I suppose it was me and Corey that out of that 18 that went on to play in the Premierships.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So the year you turned professional in 1996, I think that was the start of the big North Melbourne era.
Yeah, we won the Premiership that year.
The Golden Cup. Oh, the Golden was 99, actually.
No,
so
96.
96 was the Golden Cup.
Yep, Golden Cup.
The only Golden Cup ever won before. The boys are stunned.
I've got no idea.
What's the Golden Cup?
100-year anniversary.
Yeah, so there's only
AFL.
Obviously the cups are all silver except one, and that's the one that we've got. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Amazing. How was that journey going from where you were to winning a flag?
Yeah, it was.
And what do you put it down to?
It was still pretty surreal.
Yeah.
As I started in 92, 96. I'm 23, so it wasn't that long ago that I was playing at Noble Park.
Yeah, and there's some big personalities down there.
Oh,
those
yeah,
days as well,
massive. Yeah, but our success, if you had to drill down to one thing, it was the coach. who brought it all together. My first year was 92. We're getting coached by Wayne Schimmelbusch. Yep. Same team. We went to Adelaide to play in a pre-season game before the start of 93. And we lost by 147 points. We were full strength as well. After that game, Shimmer got the sack. They brought Dennis Pagan back in, who'd coached most of us through the under-19s. When he walked in, we were like, oh, shit.
400s.
And so within 10 games, we were on top of the ladder.
Oh.
Yeah, right. So what was the main difference between those two coaches, those two leaders?
Well, I thought Shimmer was a good coach because he was playing me. So, but there was a big difference. Like Dennis, he was sort of one of the first coaches to start having a dedicated game plan and team rules and mission statements, and this is how we're playing. Where the old coaches was all rah and let's kick more goals than them and we'll win the game. So, but we actually had a method to what we were doing, which was very basic, but at least and he was very monotonous, with his training, and it worked because, and I coach kids now, and I coach like Dennis. Keep it very simple, and we do the same thing over and over and over and over again till you get it. So when you actually go out the field, you know.
That's good to know, because I've been coaching my daughter's basketball and I feel like I'm really monotonous as well. Yeah. And I keep doing the same, like practicing the dribbling and stuff, like the full fundamentals. And I'm thinking, I keep going back there. Should I be progressing? But I feel like we've just got to keep working those fundamentals, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's
good to know.
That's the key. That's
a good tip. So Dennis brought a level of professionalism.
Very much so. Yeah, absolutely. And he was good for our group because most of us were lunatics. Like we were a bit off. Like there's myself, Wayne Carey, Wayne Schwass, Anthony Rock. We were party guys, you know. Yeah. Once it comes to the weekend, it's drinking time. Let's have 85 beers and go back to training. So we needed someone to pull us back into line.
So you probably still partied, but come Monday that you're doing 400s and we're into it again. Yeah,
well, we're good in that fact that the players, like we love, we play hard, train hard. Like if you went too hard on the weekend, all right, you got to punish yourself during the week.
I tell you what, I can confirm the partying because I was a busboy at the Ivy back in the day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I know the boys used to be walking past it. Trust me, man. The North boys would roll into the Ivy.
I think you've got to remind the audience of how good North Melbourne were in that area. So you won 96. I think you made the granny 97, lost to Adelaide, or was that 98? 98. So what happened in 97? Were you finals still?
Prelim? Prelim, but. Well, myself and Wayne Schwass probably contributed to that because we both got suspended in the first final, and obviously take two of your key players out. I didn't think we were struggling anyway. We basically had the Premiership hangover again.
Party boys, yeah.
Like we went to 6 of us went to as soon as after the grand final we partied for a week. 6 of us hopped on a plane and went to Vegas and LA for 2 weeks, and then we met the boys in Hawaii for another week for a footy trip.
Yeah. That's 4 weeks of partying.
So you get to 97 pre-season training. Dennis comes in, goes through everything with us, and he's going through all the players, and he sort of went past me. Then he came back to me and he goes, "Jesus, son, you've swallowed your mattress." I was 100 kilos. Oh, wow. I left at 90.
You had a good time. You had a good time in the US.
And were you 23? Is that right?
I was 23, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So what did he get you back down to within a month?
Well, I got back down to mid-90, but I got put into the fat group. Yeah. Because we had a fat group.
Couple of 400s.
So, no, it was walking.
Oh.
So we would obviously train all day.
Off walking around.
But then you'd have to do 10 Ks of walking.
Wow.
They thought walking gets the fat off you quicker, but So the 97 we botched it with the hangover really. Yeah. Then come 98, we said, right, let's pull our finger back out again. Yeah. And we were the best team by a street. Like, I think we won our last 11 games by an average of 50 points. So.
You're best and fairest that year? Is that right? Is it
No,
McCallum, what's the McCallum or McClelland trophy?
Don't know.
Are you okay?
It was in the research, man. I'm just Wikipedia. Someone's edited it.
And I think 98 from memory, I think you guys were winning, you were leading the grand final either half-time or three-quarter time.
Oh, yeah. We should have been up by 10 goals at halftime. We were 30-something points up, but at the end of the game, we kicked 9 goals, 22. So the punt rode in, we kicked 2 goals, 18. Wow. So we kicked ourselves out of it. But we went in at half time, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one.
You thought you had it?
I just thought, how far? It was it was a training drill.
Yeah.
They were witches' hats out there. And then it just got completely reversed, and we turned into the witches' hats.
Yeah.
Can we ask, how does that happen? How does a team that's dominating a grand final and then let it slip?
Well, mindset. Having a mindset at half time, you're playing at an elite level, and you think at half time that it's all over. There's another team over there that are very, very talented.
That they want it just
as much. Proves you take your foot off the pedal a little bit.
Yeah.
You get smashed, and that's what happened to us.
That's crazy.
So, we never took that for granted. We went into the grand final the following year, and we were sort of in a similar situation at half time. But we had a different mindset at half time that, we have to. It starts again now. We got to push again.
Yeah, nice.
So we you learn from your mistakes, and we made a massive mistake of being complacent.
Yeah, I remember 99. You guys were red hot favourites. I think Carlton knocked out your probably biggest competitor in Essendon in the prelim.
Yeah. Well, Essendon were the best team that year. They got knocked out. And although, because I hate Essendon with a passion, and you get the Essendon supporters still to this day go, oh, if we played you in the grand final in 99, we would have won. I go, well, it's really hard to win if you're not in it. You've actually got to get in it, dickhead.
Yeah.
Glenn, you were a super leader and a super competitor. Can you talk us through, during those glory years, other amazing leaders and competitors that you played with, and what they did? What were they doing different to the rest of the group?
Well, Wayne Carey was our captain,
yep.
And he was an unbelievable leader. Yep. All good leaders, I can just get people to follow. Yep. And he would get people to follow him on the ground and off the ground. Again, like we were party guys. So we finished the game. Boys, we're going to the Redback for a beer. If Wayne says that, 40 guys go.
Yeah.
So on the field.
And Wayne did say that.
Yeah.
And he led by example on the field as well.
And on the field, he was this. Obviously, he had amazing talent. He's the best player I've ever seen. But he just relished, and all good leaders do, they relish when it gets tough. Yeah. You go in at three-quarter time, you're a goal down. He pulls us in and said, rightio, just get it to me and I'll finish it. And that's what we basically did. Our game plan was get out of his way and get it to him, because he'll win it most times.
Pagan's panic.
Yeah, well, that's how that was born, and was a great tactic, because if you can get it to him one-on-one, he's going to win it 9 times out of 10. Yeah. So he was an amazing leader. Just his ability to get people to follow him.
Yeah, and set that example.
Yeah.
And could you put that success, because from what my memory is, you made 9 prelims in a row, and I think it started back in 94 or something when poor old Mick Martin made not even a blue, but Gary Ablett took that one-handed mark.
Yeah.
But I think you made 9 prelims in a row. You won 2 grand finals. That's a very successful team. And does that come down to the culture of how well you guys bonded? And like you said, off the field you're together, on the field you played together. Is that...
Yeah, well, the culture was really, really good. It was really strong. And it's one of them things you don't think about at the time, you think about it afterwards. And why were we so tight? And you need some luck as well to be able to bring so many people into the one place that are very like-minded. And even so today with recruiting, recruiting footballers is an art. one, you got to pick the right talent. You got to be able to crystal ball. What's that 18-year-old kid going to be like in 5 years? It's actually really hard to do.
Yeah.
And also, does his personality fit with the way we go about things, and does it fit the other 38 players?
Yeah.
Regardless of how good they are.
No, and that's the problem. And we've had the problem at North. A lot of clubs have got the problem. They just look at the talent.
Yeah.
And Jason Horne-Francis is probably a good example. Amazing talent. It's actually quite sad that he didn't connect.
Yeah.
He didn't connect with that group. You know, trust me, I'm not talking from the inside. I'm talking from the outside. Yeah. You watch a player during a game at 18 years old, spitting the dummy and yelling at a 34-year-old veteran. I'm like, that just can't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that happened in our day, you get a smack of the mouth to be out real quick.
That's so
and
fascinating.
that's probably part of it's probably a leadership problem as well.
Yeah.
That he was actually allowed to get to that stage.
Yeah.
Talking of recruiting, Arch, there was someone that got recruited down at North Melbourne. Was it this year? And he played his first game. Did he get recruited? He got recruited last year. Played his first game this year. Your son Jackson, mate.
Yes.
Tell us, mate. Yeah, what? How did that feel when you first found that out? And what does it mean to you to have your son down at North Melbourne following in the footsteps?
Yeah, well, it's obviously fantastic. But Jackson was very similar to me. Like he was a good junior, wasn't elite. I didn't think he was going to get drafted. I thought he was one of them kids on the cusp. Could maybe. Then he gets drafted, so that was a surprise. And then started working really hard. Was doing okay in the VFL. Jackson's again, similar to me. He's a lockdown offender. His job is just lockdown. Basically, we don't really care if you get the ball. You just need to take someone out good. Which is, you still got to have them players. It's very important. Like if you can cut out one of the best forwards, it's actually a really good skill to have. And then he got promoted into the seniors about round 14, and I thought, I don't know if he's ready for this.
Is that against Adelaide?
Adelaide,
yeah.
Because I've been watching him in the VFL, just thought, I'm not quite sure whether he's ready for it, because he's still quite raw as well, and he's 70 odd kilos. So I thought, part of me was thinking he could get his ass kicked here.
He didn't swallow the mattress for pre-season.
He was the opposite. But so he got a game, and he actually did really well. Like he didn't look out of place at all. First quarter, got 6 possessions, beat his man. I thought, wow. And that's something I've banged on at the club about for a while as well. Don't pigeonhole players to the VFL, because some players are VFL players, some players are AFL players.
And they rise to the occasion.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and if they get better players around them, they fit. So some players might get spat out of the system after 2 years and never have played a game. And I'm always like, no, just put them in there, because they could be one of them AFL players.
Yeah,
the VFL doesn't work for them.
That's to your point you were saying before, how difficult it is to see the future of these younger kids coming through, isn't it? To develop, or how far they can develop in the different, and because the environments can make a difference on how fast or slow they develop.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of luck involved.
Yeah.
Being in the right place at the right time. And
so as he was growing up, he just loved his footy. Was his goal always to play AFL footy? Dad played footy and that was his goal growing up? Or he just enjoyed his footy and as he got older, sort of started to become more real?
Again, I reckon he's similar to me. I think that he loved playing the game, and AFL might have been a little bit out of reach.
Yep.
So yeah, I reckon he thought like me, that I reckon I would love to be able to play it, but am I good enough to do it? But he's had the chance now, and you can see that he is good enough to do it. But no, the easy part's done.
Yeah.
Getting drafted and playing a couple of games is the easy part. Being able to do it for a long period of time, that's the hard part.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Like, as a parent, got the kids and that sort of thing, like, were you ever, hey, mate, you can play footy, you can make it, look at your old man, 300 plus games, or were you just like, as long as you're having fun, mate, I'm with you? How did you approach it?
Yeah, I never really preached to him at all, give him that much advice. Well, I sort of gave him advice because I coached his junior team for a long time. Which poor bugger, I said, give it to him.
Pagan style.
Yeah.
Well, you can't really yell at the kids these days, but they do frustrate the life out of you. So every now and then I'll be in the car on the way to training. I go, he's 13 years old. I go, Jacko, you're going to cop it tonight.
Yeah.
I go, I just need to get a message across.
So I got to put it through you.
You bring him in, Jackson, you're going to start yelling at him, and he's got his head down. But he knows that I'm yelling at the group. I'm not but
Yeah, nice
Good
work,
tactic.
Jacko.
I like that. That's a good tactic.
And again, I would never really preach to him, but you can brainwash kids.
Yeah.
And so the way I used to talk about footy, and when we used to watch the footy, I'd never used to say anything directly to him, but he would just hear what I'd say.
Yeah.
So we'd be watching the game, and obviously with Foxo you can stop it and go back, and something would happen. I go, oh my God, get the remote control, revert. I go, look at that, he ducked his head. Oh my!
Pulled out.
He pulled back his head. Jesus! And then just press play again and keep watching.
That's why Jackson's
sitting there going,
straight at the
"Don't
pill.
So I'm not saying it to him. I'm just saying it to the TV.
He's
But
under no illusions.
he's hearing it.
That's gold. It's that.
I just wouldn't mind going back on the culture. You don't have to answer this because it's probably a question you get asked a lot. You had an amazing bond of a team, a great culture. Obviously, there was an event that disrupted that. How does leaders deal with that in a team, in an organisation? What do you do? Do you rally the group together? How do you sort of get through it, get past it?
That was big at the time.
It's huge.
Oh yeah,
There's nothing bigger.
Biggest story in AFL.
it nearly
Because
broke the place.
One of the biggest stories in the country.
Still.
It rears its head all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's one of the biggest
coming
stories.
up now.
Yeah, exactly.
20-something years later.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, that was.
And I think that's testament to how big that North Melbourne team was at that time, in the moment in time, how big the AFL had gotten, become professional, like you said, and then you had these big personalities that were out about town and stuff that were just almost bigger than the game in some respects. So I think 20 years later, the reason we still talk about it is because it was so big back then. Like you guys were so big.
Yeah, absolutely.
how do you deal with it?
Like when that news lands and it's like, oh shit, like this group, our leader that you just spoke about, this has come out. Do you feel a sense of I've got to figure this out amongst the group and try and damage control type of thing?
Yeah, it took a bit though. It took a couple of weeks to get to that point because the first emotion shock, and then what are we going to do? And then obviously I've got my best mate Steve-O here, so I'm really worried about him and spending a lot of time with him every day. So footy and the footy club sort of took a back seat for a good couple of weeks. I just didn't think I was going to play again. I thought it was over. I was done. I was too big, all just busy, trying to look after Steve-O, really.
Are we mid-season? I forget. Are we
Nah,
mid-season?
it's just the start of the season.
Gotcha.
On the back of a flag? Was it on?
Yep.
No, we
01.
You had the two in the bag.
01,
You had the
so
two in the
two.
bag. You'd won the two, 99. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we ended up, we have to get together at some stage. So it was Lee Colbert, actually. His dad lives up in Bendigo. He had this massive property. So Colby organised for the whole team to go up to the property and have a bit of a powwow up there.
And that everyone went up
Yeah, all the team. So we went up there and we had some beers and muck around and then we had a big group session. And I was still at that stage where I was struggling a bit. I didn't think couldn't be bothered playing anymore.
Did it do that? Was it that powerful?
Yeah. It was emotionally and mentally. It just
From the
it
high,
consumed everything.
Would it
And
be like
so
a
footy
breakup?
was.
Is it like a breakup with someone? Or something like
It was a family breakup.
Family
It was
breakup, yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
But what hit home that day, everyone sort of got up and had a bit of a chat. And it was Steve-O for me that got me going again. He got up and actually said to the whole group, can you stop walking around eggshells around me? I don't feel comfortable. Because people didn't know what to say to him. And he goes, you make him real weird for me. He goes, what's done's done. We can't do nothing about it. But, we've got a season. We're playing in a couple of weeks. we've got to pull our finger out and get our shit together. Yeah. So for me, it was like, if he can get over it, and get himself going, I'm pretty sure I can.
Yeah, wow.
So that was the catalyst to get things moving again.
Well done, Colby. And was Wayne up at that as well?
No.
Gotcha.
No.
Okay. I'm trying to work that through.
He left then.
Yeah,
he retired.
He was just gone by then.
He was in Adelaide.
No, he retired for a year.
Yeah,
he had a year off.
Yeah, he had a year off. Yeah.
He did. Okay.
So there was certain guys like Lee Colbert and John Blakey and the older guys and Steve-O that actually bring everyone together.
Yeah.
And said, well, Steve-O was probably the main one to say.
Yeah.
He sort of let, there's tension.
Yeah.
And once he had that chat to say, all right, if I'm all right, you guys are all right. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, okay. We're all right.
Let's move
go.
on.
Yeah.
So the lessons there is, I guess, don't try and build it up and make the story bigger in your head. Get around the group or whoever it is, the organisation, and just have the talk. Communicate how everyone's feeling, and then it's probably not as bad as what you think.
Yeah, and that was the great thing about our group, where we're open to talk about anything.
Yeah.
Because once you become, and I've said this a lot of times, particularly in the sporting field, once you actually get to a level where you, it's quite deep, but once you love your teammates, then you love your workmates. Like you'll do anything.
Yeah.
Once you get to that stage, it can't be forced. But again, it's getting the right group together who are sort of like-minded. Yeah. But once you love that bloke next to you, you'll do anything for it.
It's that camaraderie. I was thinking when you were saying that, like we grew up sort of as shop fitters, and we built really close relationships, living in hotels, building shops around Australia and stuff. And we know how deep those lifelong friends that we've got with the guys that we did that with. You guys have gone on and won premierships and stuff like that, which just elevates that bond even further. So it's pretty crazy. Can I ask Arch, when it first happened, because Wayne was, he's arguably the greatest player that's ever played the game, right? That happened, and was there anything, you were like thinking, I don't know if I'm going to play again, all that kind of stuff. Was there anything from the club? Were they onto it straight away, like Wayne's out? Or were they trying to find a way to fix it because, to keep the best player in the history of the game at the club? Were they trying to find a way to keep him? Or was everyone he's a hard out from, because obviously the players was, hard out, but were they trying to find a workaround, I suppose?
I can't really remember. I doubt it. Because it was always going to be up to Steve-O.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And there was obviously certain people in the group as well, like probably myself. We can't.
It just wasn't going to be.
We can't play together.
He's done the wrong thing, and that's what it is now.
Yeah. And Wayne himself, he didn't want to. He knew that he wanted to get out of there. Yeah. So he resigned, and away we went.
How'd you go that year? I can't remember.
We made the finals. I think we made one final. I think we got knocked out in, but I think we overachieved. I reckon that year with the list that we had, because it was an aging list where blokes were falling off the perch. So we actually did quite well.
So considering the start of the season as well. So amazing football career, Glenn. Once you finish football, have you been interested in business? Is that something that sort of chipped away, drives you a bit? Because you've started some great sort of initiatives and a great entertainment company there that I know our good mate Mark Walkley talks about. Like, does that, is that a passion for you?
Yeah, no, I've always been really curious. Well, I was always curious when I was playing, because you actually get surrounded a bit by a lot of successful business people. Yeah. And so I was always curious, asking, some directors and who had multi-million-dollar businesses how did you start it? And because I had no idea. I was playing footy full time, and I was an electrician. I didn't know nothing about business really. So I was always curious. I was always asking questions. How did you start? How did you get it going? And how many people do you employ? And how do you keep control of all them? And just all them sort of questions. And then I was managed by a guy, Ron Joseph. He was a absolute legend of North Melbourne. He got into the recruiting, into the player management scene. Yeah. And myself and Steve-O were his first clients. So, I was very close to Ron. So I was probably 2 years before I retired. I wanted to get into the player management game. So myself, Steve-O, and another businessman, we brought Ron's business. So I thought I had probably a year to run anyway. I was just going to roll straight into that. So we brought his business, and then I ended up playing another 2 or 3 years, I think. But I'd be there 1 day a week, learning. The guy that we went into business with, Ian Foote, his name was, and he was very successful in business already. So I was able to learn a lot from him. So yeah, we I think when we took over Ron's business, we had 40 players, 40 AFL players. And then we sold that business 2 years ago.
So you've had it for that long?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we ended up with I think we had 210 athletes in the end with football, cricket. We managed, Joel Selwood and Nathan Fife and Bonson Pally.
Wow.
And, we had a big list and strong list of players. So so we joined forces with TLA, which is Craig Kelly's mob. Some conglomerate took over that. So that was my foray into business, and then I've had a crack at a few things because I'm curious.
Yeah, we all have.
Wearing a tree management t-shirt. We're talking about.
Yeah, I'm actually involved in a tree lopping business.
Yep.
Which I love.
Yep.
So Kode Entertainment business. We started myself and Lee Colbert started it 13 years ago, I think.
Was that just so you could go on some junkets yourself?
This is not going to sound professional at all. But we started the business. I started it probably a year after I retired. So when I played, I went on 16 footy trips every year. I was the king of the footy trips. And it was always overseas. Yeah. So when I retired, I had a year off, no footy trip. I was like, how the hell?
This doesn't work.
How am I going to get overseas legitimately without my wife?
With approval.
So I
clear run.
I just started a business.
I like it.
And I called it Ultimate Sports Tours.
Yeah, that's why we're trying to take the podcast on the road for the same reason.
So I thought, all right, where do I want to go? I want to go to the Ashes. So I was good mates with Ricky Ponting, who'd actually come into the Stride management business as well as a business partner. Yep. So Ricky's captain at the time. So I ring him. I go, Rick, I want to bring a group over. I want to do it high end, 20 guys max. What do you got for me? Because he was the captain at the time. Yeah. He goes, well, just market that. I'll have dinner with him night 3 of the test. I went, I like that. Wow. I had dinner with the Australian captain in the middle of the game. And so I went to London, did a bit of a recon, found the hotel. So, beautiful. It was basically running a footy trip.
A high-end footy trip.
Yeah. So did the first trip. I sold it out in 24 hours.
And are these just contacts? Or just word got around? Archie's building a footy trip.
No, whatever was on my email.
Yeah, right.
My contact list, I just blasted it out. And then it all come flooding back.
Sold out straight away. In how many minutes, you say?
24 hours, it was gone. So did that, went really well. Then what else do I want to do? Wait, Monaco Grand Prix. That's all high on my bucket list. Yeah. Been mates with Mark Webber for years. Ring up Mark, what do you got for me?
Wow.
He goes, I just tell him I'll have dinner with him the night before the race, on the Saturday night. I go, how do I get on one of them big boats? He goes, I'll just ring this lady. She's got a boat. Wow. Oh, okay. So a year later.
You're on a boat.
2010, I think.
Yeah.
Good year, 2010.
Mark qualifies first.
Yes.
Comes on, has dinner with us. We're on this kick-ass boat, 180 foot. Yeah. It was ridiculous. I was pinching myself. I was saying to Colby, I go, 1 minute you're in Bendigo, next minute I'm in Noble Park, next minute we're in Monaco.
On a yacht.
Jeepers.
Yeah.
We're bogans.
Paid for as well.
Hey, so Arch, was it the same people from the year before that came on the Monaco trip?
No, new group.
New group?
Yeah.
So is this when you started to see, hang on, this has got legs, this business?
Yeah, after that trip, I go, there's something in this business for sure. I go, but like I said to Colby, this isn't sustainable, us running these trips. I go, we really need to get into the corporate world. So I said, what we need, we need your sister, Shelley, because she's a superstar. I knew her for years. She had her own business. I go, if we can replicate someone like her, and Lee goes, I think she's had enough. She had a graphic design business. I think she would be interested to come in and have a chat. And so Shelley came in, had a chat. She goes, yeah, I'll run it. And me and Lee can't really take any credit from this. From there on,
trip.
Yeah.
Shelley took over, and now we don't do anything to the public. It's all big corporate companies. We run their conferences, we run their junkets, and
Do you still get on a few?
yeah.
Well, you've ticked all those bucket lines.
Shelley, what have you done this year? Can you crowbar me into any?
Yeah, no, I do that, but she says no most of the time. But yeah, no, I've done
You've done Super Bowl?
6 Super Bowls.
Oh,
Wow.
Done
else is
I think
there?
7 or 8 Monaco Grand Prix. I did the World Cup final
NBA
in
finals?
Brazil.
Any
NBA finals? No, I've done NBA games.
Yeah.
Got guys on the court and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, World Cup final in Brazil was amazing. Did that.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's insane.
Yeah, done Spanish Grand Prix, did the Singapore Grand Prix. We've done a lot. Wimbledon final. So again, I just try and keep ticking off my list.
Have you got any still up high on the list, Arch? Or have you?
Well, my number one, which I'm ticking off in late November, I'm a massive college football fan. And the biggest rivalry, people don't really get it in Australia, but the biggest rivalry in American sports is Ohio State University versus Michigan. So they play, it's the rivalry games, the last game of the year. It always is in college football. So I'm a massive Ohio State fan. Like if you look at my phone,
You got
I've got it on the background. So I watch every game every week. But so I've always wanted to get this Michigan game. So Michigan, we played in Michigan last year. They beat us for the first time in 11 years. Return game this year. So there'll be 104,000 in the stadium.
Wow.
And there'll be 400,000 outside the stadium. There'll be
Doing the barbecues. What do they call them? The tailgates.
tailgating.
Yeah.
They'll have 400,000 on campus.
We're going on one. We've got to go on one of these ones.
500,000 on the venue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
every
Tailgates with their boots open, cooking snags and drinking and dressed up, losing their minds.
no,
I don't know if you want to be inside or outside. Sounds like outside.
Yeah.
Outside's where it's at.
You generally tailgate for 5 hours before you go in the game. So
Lubricate.
So it's next level. College football is ridiculous over there. Like it's
A
massive.
bit like the basketball's like that as well, isn't it? When they do I think the college basketball.
Yeah, the March Madness. is
Yeah, the
big.
March Madness.
So that each home game at Ohio State and at Michigan is bigger than the AFL Grand Final every week. Michigan holds
Hard to get your head
100,
around,
it is.
115,000,
Yeah.
150.
and they pack it out every home game.
Every home game, it is hard to get your head around.
Wow.
So
Mate, sounds like you're a bit of an entrepreneur here, Arch, like you say.
It sounds like you just have a crack. And
Yeah.
no,
It's a good lesson though, isn't it? You have a crack, something good might come from it.
Well, it's
Yeah,
about
that's-
the why, I reckon. Now, you always start a business and you got to know why you want to do it.
Yep.
You and Colbert, you wanted to go on the footy trips, so you made it
Found a
happen.
way, yeah.
And now you build it into this major
Is that
corporate
an
sort of...
MVP, Benny?
That's an MVP, minimal viable product. Yeah, spot on.
So you come in light,
Yeah.
did it with your mates, sussed it out, and you
It works.
probably made some money on the trips, I suppose. Like
Yeah.
there was a margin there, I
Yeah,
guess.
there was margin,
And it was
wasn't
like
massive, but-
we can do that. And these are our mates, so we'll charge other people more, and then it's a business.
yeah, absolutely. So
Happy days.
You said you tried a bunch of stuff, Arch.
yep.
Have you got one that you can share that you tried that didn't work?
Yeah, no, I got a few.
Yeah. Rattle, if you don't, any that you don't mind sharing,
Again,
because it's good to give
I'll have a-
perspective, because
yeah.
people look, it's easy for people to look from the outside and see someone as
Yeah.
decorated as yourself and think that you've had the easy run, you've had the inside run the
course
whole
it
time.
worked.
And
Of course it worked. Archie did it.
Yeah, it's got
Yeah,
direct
yeah.
line to Ponting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to, for a bit of perspective on what didn't work and maybe why.
Yeah, no, I had a children's play centre once there that just didn't work. Well, I got involved in it. It was a franchise as well, which is something I probably wouldn't do again unless it was McDonald's. Because, you pay these massive franchise fees. I learned within 12 months that wasn't going to work.
Yep.
My biggest mistake with that was just not doing enough homework before I actually jumped in. I'm a bit of a yes man.
So did someone guide you into that?
Yeah, a mate of mine goes, oh, this looks all right. I'd do the plumbing at these joints, they're packed and all that sort of stuff. You want to come with me? Yeah, I'll have a look. And so learn from that, to do your homework. Do your homework on your franchise fees and your franchise agreements. Didn't really do much homework on that. That wasn't a massive fail, but it definitely wasn't a success.
A nice little lesson all the same.
So,
or pay someone to do your due diligence, because I'm doing something similar.
Yeah.
And we just went to our financial advisors. We gave them all the figures, and we go, "Can we do this?" And they said, "Yep."
Yeah.
Try and break it, guys.
Well,
tell me why I shouldn't
It took
do
them a
this.
month, and then they came back and go, "You should do it."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a little key out there for people too. To maybe pay someone that you know to do it for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, there's...
Because I wouldn't know what I'm looking at.
Nah.
I wouldn't know a few numbers. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm involved in a bar in Bali as well. We opened that a couple of months ago.
Oh, nice.
And that's been
just a couple of months
That's
ago.
been really interesting.
Were you guys there?
They were.
Yes. Because that's all been pretty
20 years
recent.
ago.
20 years ago.
It was North
You were
Melbourne.
over there, right?
No, we weren't there. I was. What happened with the bombing? We were in New Orleans for a footy trip, and so Jason and Mick Martin, they left a day early to go home go to Bali.
Yep.
So we were actually in the air on the way back from New Orleans when the bomb went off. So we had no idea. We rocked up to the Melbourne airport, and there was a few of the partners there, our girlfriends and wives. And we were like straight away, like, what have we done wrong?
Yeah,
what are they doing
What's
here?
happened? Yeah.
But they were there to let us know that bomb's gone off. Can't find Jason and Mick. So that's how we first found out about it.
Yeah. And so where's your bar in Bali? Because I love going over to Bali. Haven't been for a while, and I've heard it's booming again.
It is.
I've heard it's open.
Well, I've been 4 times in the last 2 months, obviously getting it started. But,
What sort of location are we running?
It's Eat Street, main street of Seminyak.
Yep, nice.
It's called Nirvana, as in the band.
Yeah.
Sports bar, live music. So we've done all bottom. It's doing really well. We're going upstairs as well. We're going to put a rooftop on.
Beautiful.
But different business.
That's
though.
sick.
How does it work?
Learning a lot.
How does it work in Indonesia? How do you run a business there? Is it completely different to Australia, like getting things through, red tape or anything like
things
that?
through
Or is it-
council?
Is there
You need to
is there council? Is there red tape?
There's no red tape. Well,
Great.
So just folding stuff.
to the point where I don't think I'm going to do any more business ventures in Australia.
It's that easy.
It's too hard here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
They're making it very, very hard.
Yeah, you're right.
As you would probably know, running businesses. It's bloody hard. There's too many rules. There's too many regulations. There's too much red tape. We go to Bali. We buy a bar. It needs renovation. So our Balinese partner, wow, we can't open this. We need to renovate it before we open this. I'm not putting my name to this. Okay, Blee. He says Blee is like mate, Comes back 18 hours later, he had drawings.
Oh, wow.
He goes, what about this? I went, I like it. That looks really good, actually. Within another 24 hours, there was 35 workers on site ripping it apart, starting.
Did you have a budget? Did they say a number or
Yeah, he just told us. And he goes, it'll be about that.
about that?
I'm like,
Is that all?
Is that enough?
Yeah.
He goes, no, it's okay, Blee. It's okay, Blee.
Let me know if you need a bit more.
And then
Wow.
they did an unbelievable job. Like I sent him a photo just of a bar, a sports actual bar in America.
Yeah.
I said, this looks fantastic, Wayne. What do you think? He goes, no worries, Blee.
Oh, wow.
Made it exactly the same.
Wow.
That was unbelievable.
That's a quick turnaround.
And there's this myth in Bali that you can have a Balinese partner, but it helps, but you don't. We've actually set up again, sort of learning how to do business over there. It's called a PMA, so it's a vehicle for foreign investors to invest into the country. Once you've got one of them set up, you don't need a partner.
And you don't need to be a resident or live there in any capacity. You can sort of fly in and out.
You just need to be cost you a bit of money to set it up, this vehicle, but once it's set up, but we've still got, me and we've still got a Balinese partner.
I was about to say
Because he's got a building company.
that makes a lot of sense.
He knows the local lay of the land. There is a bit of
The communication,
mafia and this.
So you need something
It sounds bad, but it's not.
Yeah.
You just make sure you employ their security. You need security.
Yeah.
They're very, very tight. They look after each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic place to do business.
Yeah. And would there be a few bargains going Arch over at the moment after the pandemic, I'll assume? Like
I think there was
business-wise?
at the very start,
Yeah.
but now
Everyone's jumped on.
It's back to where it was. Like it's
Yeah.
packed.
You know what I'm going to do?
We're going to Bali and buying something, I reckon.
We've got one of our boys here, Gav, who was a lifetime. You were his idol growing up. So I'm going to let Gav come on, and
Yep.
I reckon he's got a couple of questions.
Oh,
Gav, come on, mate.
GK.
Fire questions.
Gav was nearly asleep on the beanbag.
That's what they do, those beanbags. They are,
like at his desk normally.
they are very comfy. They are very comfy. Thanks for coming on, GK.
Thanks, guys.
Long time listener,
Glenn.
first time.
Nice to meet you, Gav.
First time.
I am an avid listener. I listen to all the podcasts, and I take away quite a bit actually from a lot of them.
Beautiful.
But I have a question.
Yep.
I have a 12-year-old son, Hunter, mad North Melbourne supporter, loves football, loves
Yep.
playing football, loves a mateship, a whole lot. Just not real tough. Now, I hear that in your career, you may have been one of the tougher guys on the ground. So I can't change him. I don't want to change him.
No.
But in your journey, sort of what time, at what age did you start to sort of think, this is how I'm going to approach these competitions, these interactions on the field with other players?
I can't remember how far back it was, but I don't know. I just worked out. Again, later on, you look back and you go, "Why did you play the way you played?" And I don't know. My answer was instinct.
Yeah.
But one thing I say to young kids as well, because that's a natural human reaction. Like if you're going back and in your mind, someone's going to stick their knee in my back and potentially kill me.
Yeah.
Because your brain can react like that. I always say to them, until you've actually put yourself in that situation a couple of times, you actually don't really know what's going to happen. And so I was one of them, go back with the flight of the ball, put my head over the ball. People said I played like a bit of a lunatic, but I don't have any injuries. I have a bad hand. That's about it. I can't really remember getting hurt all that much. So I learned after a while that the harder I go, probably the less chance I'm going to get hurt.
Well, I could probably relay that to him then, because I'm not one of those dads, but I'll say to him, look, mate, you just need to toughen up a bit. So on this quarter, I want you to tackle 3 guys to the ground. I don't care if you get the ball or not, just get some good hard tackles. So it's really also then maybe, I guess, going back to him with having him know that, the harder he goes in, maybe the more chance he's going to get the ball, but also not get hurt.
What's making it hard though these days is the rules.
Yeah.
I reckon that the rule changes and interpretations are opening it up for people to get hurt.
Yeah.
Because you become tentative. If the ball's there,
when
and
it's
I
on
want
the
to get
ground.
it, but I'm like, but if I slide into their leg, I'm going to get a free kick against me. So I'm like, oh, do I go? Do I don't go? And that was the last thing that I wanted to happen in my mind. I just went, see ball, get ball, and don't worry about what's going on around me. But now they start to worry. They go, you see them, they pull up. They go, oh, I don't want to bump him. I don't want to slide in. And I'm like, oh God! But if the other guy coming the other way is thinking, I don't give a stuff, you're gonna get smashed.
Yeah.
So
Now I'll give him time. That's the thing. He's still young, but he's got a beautiful nature, and I certainly don't want to change that. But at the same time, he says to me, "Oh, Dad, so when I'm an AFL player," I'm like, "Okay, mate. Well, you're gonna have to toughen up a bit, So
human beings are all different.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's why
some
I
play
give
a
him
certain
time.
way, some play not everyone's gonna be a bloody tough lunatic.
Yeah.
There's skillful players. A team is made up of all different types of personalities and sort of skill types as well. So sometimes you just
need
got
that diversification
Yeah.
in a team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Explain to him he doesn't need to be Glenn Archer.
Well, the funny thing is, I do send him out on a quarter and say, "Mate, you need to be a bit more like Archer this quarter."
Well, you don't really want to be. I did get reported 17 times, so you don't want to be doing that.
Well, after he's been reported once or twice, it's time to pull back a bit.
Yeah.
The only other question is, So next time you go to Monarco, if you've got a spare seat,
Okay.
don't call these guys because I won't get it.
Well, I haven't been for a bit, so I think I'm due to go next year. So I need to rekindle.
We'll talk.
You see some amazing things over there. Well, I've had some unbelievable experiences. Justin Bieber had to tug his coat one day on the boat. We share a boat with a place called the Amber Lounge. Yeah. The Amber Lounge is a massive party in Monaco. It's run by Eddie Irvine's sister. So she's got good pull over there. So she gets the best boat in the right spot. So we join her. But she brings a lot of celebrities across for the nightclub. They have a fashion show there with the prince and all that sort of stuff. So whoever she brings over, they've got access to the boat. So she brings Justin Bieber over one year. And on the Saturday, I think it was, he comes on the boat. Boat's huge, 4 stories. But you've really got to be on the top to watch the cars to get the best view. Even though the cars are just there, we're right up against the track. So he goes up with his security and locks off the top level. What? So I go to this Lisa who's running the boat. I said, Lisa, my client's got to be up there. I've got 30 of them. Qualifying's about to start. Oh, yeah, goes and talks to the security guard, comes back down with the tail between the legs and says, he wants to have some private time for a while.
How did that go down?
No.
Beeb's never heard of Archer.
I couldn't give a stuff who he is. We're going up there.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to stress a bit because my clients are paid for half this boat. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars here. So I go up, this big security bloke goes, no, I can't. Okay, yes, I can. We're paying for this boat. And you could see, people can see me sort of arguing with this bloke. So he comes, to his credit, he comes over and goes, hi, my name's Justin. I go, well, g'day, Justin. Glenn, and shook his hand like really tight.
Shinboner of the century.
I said, listen, mate, I've got 30 clients downstairs. We're coming up to watch qualifying. I know you probably get hassled, but they're 50, 60-year-old blokes. I said, they couldn't give a stuff about you. And I was really starting to stress a bit.
Yeah.
He goes, that's okay, that's okay. I said, beautiful. I said, tell your goon that we're coming up. So he talks to the security. I go downstairs, tell all the boys. I go, listen, we're going upstairs. That little Justin Bieber's up there. He gets hammered a bit, so just leave him alone. And they went, yeah, all right. Get up there, I reckon, within 10 seconds.
They're all around.
They grab me, Bieber, selfie.
They're all around him.
I'm looking, going, stuff him.
Yeah.
But once everyone had a little photo with him, he was fine. He's hung around for the rest of the day.
That's a cracker.
What a great, that's an experience. That's awesome. Wow.
We had Kim Kardashian once and Rachel Hunter. See, the good thing is I'm running the trip. And the guys think I'm organising this stuff.
All the celebs, yeah.
I've got no idea. Okay, how did you get Kim Kardashian? I go, that's what I do. Yeah. I had no idea they were coming on.
Wow.
How'd you convince Justin Bieber to let us into his top story?
Yeah. Well, Archer's paying for it.
It was our boat.
Yeah, they'd pay for it, so they were expecting it. Yeah.
Maybe it's something the fish could do one day, one of these little trips.
The
if
pod.
we want
Yes.
From the boat in Monaco?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love it. Put that on the list, Benny.
Yeah, it sounds like we need a couple of hundred, though. From the sounds.
You can sort that out too, Benny. I love it. This has been awesome, Arch. Any more queries, boys, for the great man? You're sort of Gav. You're going home to Hunter tonight.
Yeah.
I am.
Next season.
Good advice, and I'll keep working on him.
No worries, Gav. Thank you.
Lovely work. Thanks again,
The
Glenn.
thing I've taken out of it, I didn't realise how much of an entrepreneur you were, Arch, to be honest. Like, I knew you involved, obviously, a great footballer, then you're involved in an administration around North Melbourne club, North Melbourne Football Club. But yeah, all these businesses I didn't know about. So
I love it.
It's good to know.
Well, I love learning new things.
Yeah.
And obviously this venture into Bali is learning every day. So it's really enjoyable. I like it.
So take risks, I guess, or just don't always say no. Put yourself out there, have a go to people.
If you don't try, you don't know. So,
I like that. I like that. What was that, Benny?
When the rooftop opens.
Oh, yeah, when the rooftop opens in Bali, we might have to swindle over.
that'll be cheaper.
Yeah.
Bintangs are on me.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, lovely work. But that is a great lesson, Dan. Great point is that you'd say, Glenn, if you're thinking about it and you think it might be something to it, you got to try it. Have a go.
Yeah. Well, most people don't because they're scared to fail.
Yeah.
And if you learn more failing than you to succeeding half the time.
Yeah.
I've got a thing in my office with a big photo. I'm a massive Michael Jordan fan, and he's got a bit of a statement there saying that he missed more than 20,000 shots in his career. Yeah. He goes, that's what made me great.
Yeah, correct.
Because he just keeps trying.
Keeps trying.
That's a good one.
Keeps failing. Love it. Great lessons there, guys. Anyone who is going to get value out of that, please like, share, subscribe. See you at the top.
Stick around.